Hello and welcome to the channel. Today we are doing a full exterior clean on this Porsche, which will include a full clean. The soft top is going to be cleaned as well as we're going to be polishing and finishing off with a wax. Let's see how we get on. The Porsche is obscurely parked next to a tree, but it shouldn't be too much of a problem. We have plenty of space around all the car, so this should be quite easy hopefully. So to start off cleaning a fabric hood, we'll need a firm bristle brush, or if you're lucky enough to have a handheld vacuum, to start on the first stage. We're going to be removing any sort of loose debris, dirt, leaves, or even like hard bits of poop that may have fallen on the car from the trees. This will all have to be flicked off and removed at this stage as much as possible. If you are using a firm bristle brush, try not to push down into the fabric, as you can damage the fabric hood, as they can be quite delicate without any water or soap on them. So once we've removed as much dirt and debris as we can, we are going to soak the hood with a pressure washer if you have one. We're going to try and get deep in the groove between the boot lid and the fabric hood, trying to get in there, as there will be a dirt build-up all the way around that rim from the passenger window all the way around to the driver's window. So we're going to soak the hood as best as we can and use the power of the pressure washer to blast out any sort of nasties you can see deep in the fabric. So now once we've got the hood nice and wet, we're going to apply a hood and fabric cleaner. We're going to apply this liberally all over the car because we want to create as much suds reaction as possible to make it easier for the next stage of the cleaning. I will leave a link in the description to show you which ones I use and ones which will be good for most tasks. Now I have a whole host of different brushes, but in this specific video I'm using a very fine, long moustache brush which will go deep into some of the crevices that most brushes won't be able to do. If you don't have one, that's fine. You can use a paintbrush, which I'll show at a later stage, but at this moment we're just going to try and generate a nice lather with the soap across the top and the sides of the hood fabric. I have a hard bristle brush in my hand, and you'll see me, I will use a very light circular motion to try and clean and get deep into the fabric. And again, don't push hard with a brush, a hard bristle brush. You want to keep it light to not damage the hood fabric. Also in my repertoire of nifty gadgets, I have a drill attachment which can do the same job as a brush, but this one can apply a decent amount of pressure and move in circular motions quite quickly. This is great for removing mold that's concentrated in a specific area, which I'll show a little bit later. Just to bear in mind when using harder bristle brushes, to keep it away from the paintwork. Any sort of slip or any sort of fast motion could allow you to attack or just hit the paint, and that could leave a nasty scratch, so always be careful. Now to get some of the mold and dirt that's hiding deep inside the crease between the hood and the boot lid. With this you can use a paintbrush or a bristle brush. You need to try and get in there as best as you can, because this is the area which will stand out if you haven't properly got it towards the rinse stage, so always bear that in mind. So now I've finished the soap cleaning stage, and now let's get ready to rinse off and see how much of this dirt we've got rid of. So I'm going to use the power of the pressure washer to move the dirty soapy water from one side to the other. You don't then want to go on the other side and push it back across. You want to push it all off in one motion. Now we need to get as much of this water off as possible. I'm using a frost remover for the window screen to almost a squeegee-like tool to drag off the water off the the fabric. This is an important stage. You want to get as much water off here as possible. Drying can leave a lot of dirty water imprinted in the fabric, so you want to remove as much water as possible, and I find these tools work quite well. So here you can see I'm pushing the water into the guttering, and I'm trying not to make it run down the body of the car. I'm trying to use the guttering of the car to the best of my ability. It just means I'm then not washing off dirty water off the paint afterwards. Now to get rid of as much excess water as possible, I use a plush microfiber towel, and you can either lay it on the hood and press down and lift water off, or you can move it around in small circulars, whatever you like. So once we got rid of as much water as possible, it's time to add a protective coat on your hood. This is really important because a good conditioner or a fabric hood protector can mean that further dirt will run off, almost like wax on a car. You can apply this stuff, apply it liberally, make sure you got a good coat of it, and this will stop your the fabric retaining dirt for a lot longer than you would do without it. So now I've applied a conditioner to the top of the hood. I'm going to use my hand to work it into the fabric, trying to get cover the most of the hood as possible. Try not to leave any gaps behind. And again, I'll leave a link to all the products I've used in this video in the description below. So depending on which conditioner you use, you can either leave that one on to dry, or if it says to dab off with a microfiber towel, you can do. And here are my finished results. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. So getting back to the task at hand, I'm going to use a lamb's wool mitt cloth and a 2-bucket method to clean the exterior of this car. I want to be careful not to get some of this shampoo back onto the hood, so you can mask it off, or you can use a microfiber towel to protect the hood at this stage, because you don't want to be removing wax that you've already put on the hood, so just be careful. Now to remove the soapy suds from the exterior of the bodywork to see what we have left behind. At this stage I use a clean plush microfiber towel to remove any residue of water off the vehicle. Now, one of the steps which I didn't record is I used a clay bar to clay the paint surface to remove embedded debris from the lacquer. This makes the polishing process a lot easier. Now, I've applied a very fine polish by Autoglym, which I'll leave in the description below. This will take a few passes because the paintwork, although it's scratched in very minor scratches across the paintwork, there aren't that many deep scratches. So after a few test passes, I found that a very fine cleaning polish would be the best solution for this car. After I've cleaned or finished polishing a panel or two, I'll go back and I'll clean the pad off and then reapply some more polish and then continue the process. Now for a second pass with a different polishing pad on this Porsche. The blue polishing pad has very little friction. It's not as thick or as strong as a wool pad. This will just attack the very top layer of the lacquer to stop an effect called hologramming appear on the paintwork. Now, after a very light further wash to the car, and I applied a detailing spray as well just to get rid of some of the stubborn polish left behind, and then we move on to the final stage, which will be waxing the car, and we can finally see what kind of effect we've had on this vehicle. So this car valet took about 3 hours to do. In multiple stages, requires quite a lot of time and a lot of patience. So here are some before and afters. Let me know what you think in the comments below.